Canine anti-poaching units are being used as a tool to curb rhino poaching here in South Africa. Friday was the 13th annual World Rhino Day. The latest poaching figures released by the Department of Fisheries, Forestry and Environmental Affairs shows a slight decrease in rhinos poached countrywide. Alarmingly, though, in the first 6 months, there has been an increase in poaching in KwaZulu-Natal. Hill's Pet Nutrition Veterinary Affairs Manager, Dr. Guy Fyvie, joins me now to unpack the effectiveness of canine units in rhino poaching and conservation. Good evening to you, Doctor. Thank you very much for joining us here on Newsnight.
Absolute pleasure.
So let's talk about how bad this issue is. We commemorated World Rhino Day yesterday. The theme is poaching of rhino, illegal rhino horn trade and low population density.
Yes.
We'll unpack the theme a little bit later, but let's talk about the stats. How bad is the situation?
The situation is, I mean, it's always bad when we do lose animals. It's decreased dramatically from the sort of 10 years ago when it was really, really bad.
Yeah.
A couple of things that have caused it for that to change. But it's not as bad as people seem to make, but we have to do something about it.
Yeah. So there's been an increase in rhino poaching, specifically in KwaZulu-Natal, in the first 6 months of the year, if I'm not mistaken. Why have we seen this increase taking place in that province specifically?
There's a theory that the gangs will go and work area like Kruger, and then leave that and then go down to Natal and go. So it's different gangs that go into the parks to go and poach. So that's really what it was.
Yeah. So with regards to measures that are being used to address this issue, canine dog units are being brought in. Talk to us about the work that's being done here and how effective it's been so far.
It's been extremely effective. That is part of the reason why the poachers will go to places where there aren't any dogs, because they know they're unlikely to be caught. 95% of the poachers that get caught in the Kruger is because a dog's involved. So it really has made it. It's been a complete game changer. There are other technologies, but you still have to have that dog to be able to take a spoor and follow and catch the poachers.
And let's talk about the training schedule and the training that goes into training these animals and these dogs, also working with the rangers. What sort of training goes into this, and how are these animals prepared?
So they're obviously working dogs. They understand that, but they do make a bond with whoever their ranger is.
Sure.
And essentially, they work as a team. If the ranger understands what the dog's telling them, then they're going to be successful. And so it's an incredible bond that they have with each other. One guy talks about when there's thunder. The dog comes and sleeps with them, and they sleep with their dogs in the bush as well. So it must be really, really nice to have a big fluffy dog attached to you in the bush.
Yeah. Let's shine the spotlight on the rangers. I think they go unnoticed and sort of under the radar more often than not. We don't really talk about the important role that they play in conservation and making sure that rhinos aren't poached.
Yeah. So without the rangers, and that it is very dangerous, the job that they do. Every morning going out, walking through that veld, and not knowing what animals you're going to come across, never mind the poachers.
The poachers, yeah.
And then when there is a contact, being able to save yourself, basically, is not difficult. It's what they need to do.
Sure, of course. There's a campaign currently taking place, the Making Contact campaign. Talk to us about the campaign, first of all, and what its purpose is. So
Making Contact is a 5-part series. It's all about the role of the dogs and the relationship with their handlers.
Yeah.
And it's really heartrending to see. It takes both the animals.
No worries.
From Kruger National Park and Hluhluwe Umfolozi, and really just shows what they can do and how that bond is just so important.
It's really amazing work, and I think it's so important for us who are not in touch with that sort of environment to see the actual work taking place, to understand better. And I think a series like this makes it easy for us to sort of step into that environment from the comfort of our homes. Talk to us about the importance of everyday South Africans understanding the magnitude of the situation and the work that it entails.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the magnitude of it is we can't afford to lose our heritage.
Sure.
And you know, for me personally, if I go into the bush, I feel so much better. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm talking, because that to me is just the ultimate. And if we get rid of those key species, then there's going to be no reason to keep the reserves. So that's really why we want to be making sure that we're looking after what we've got.
So what can we do then, besides obviously educating ourselves and getting involved in the campaign and watching the series? What can ordinary South Africans, individuals and organizations do to play our part, to get involved and to make sure that we see a sustainable difference being made here?
Absolutely. So part of the making contact is a way that money's always the issue. You know, we need money, and it's, you know, one dog is about 90,000 rand just for the dog, and then you need to train, and it really is a very expensive.
One dog is 90,000 rand?
Exactly, yeah. It's been trained up, but we still need to get it ready for being in the bush.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the expenses. You know, helicopters, all that really uses up a lot of money. I mean, so when you watch the series, the Making Contact series, it'll also be an option to donate.
Okay,
and that is a really, you know, it's a really nice, and anything is welcome, and that goes directly to the dog unit to help keep it going.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, us individuals being in that space could be dangerous, but is there any more hands-on way that we can assist, maybe donating or getting involved in some other way? Yeah,
so I mean, donating is the best way to do it. The problem is if people give things that are not necessary, then it just becomes it's a problem. So really, money buys the right equipment. If we've got the right equipment, we can work with the dogs. Something like we've donated some cooling blankets. So when it's really, really hot, those bloodhounds will just go on and on and on and on. If you don't put a cooling blanket on it, they die. So basically, we have, you know, that's what we really need.
You have to make sure that they. So I just want to tap into the actual training process of these K9 units and of these animals. Is it quite a hectic and difficult process? What goes into making sure that these dogs are able and capable to do the job?
So they will be in a central area. They won't be in the national park. They won't be in the park, but they'll be trained up to be tracker dogs. So it's something like the bloodhound Doberman bloodhound mix, which makes it a little more robust to go into the bush. Their life is tracking.
Yeah.
So you basically teach them to track a certain thing. So you'll have a little piece of horn, rhino horn, and they know that that's the smell they need to follow.
Sure.
Or humans, that's the other way, and they will just keep going. They are the most amazing at it. I mean, you just watch this thing and you're going, big floppy ears, and it just carries on and on and on, and they won't give up.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting to watch the actual series that's currently out. But I want to know, what then is the message that we need to be spreading? Since we've commemorated the 13th annual World Rhino Day, what is the message that you would like to put out there with regards to conservation and rhino poaching?
It's extremely difficult, especially in Africa, where people need to get food and so on. But if we don't look after these animals, then we won't have any of that. It'll all disappear. So these top, the top elephant, lion, rhino, that's what brings us tourism, and that's what brings us the money. So if we get rid of them, it's not helping anybody, even the people who rely essentially on poaching. It's also not good for them.
So we have to take care of them while we still have them.
Absolutely, while we've got them, and I mean, we must do everything we can to try and preserve preserve them.
Definitely. Dr. Fyvie, thank you very much for your time,
Absolute
for your
pleasure.
insights, and for creating awareness on a very important conversation and topic. Thank you for the work that you're
Thank
doing.
you very much.
My absolute pleasure. That was Hill's Pet Nutrition Veterinary Affairs Manager, Dr. Guy Fyvie, talking to us as we commemorated World Rhino Day yesterday, just talking to us about how big this problem is and what we as South Africans can do to assist.